welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing to you our brand new die set, Build a Fox. This die set is so cute and it's the latest in our Build a Critter series. So now we have our Build a Fox and our Build a Bunny. We're also coming out with some brand new accessories for them. So we have our Build a Critter winter accessories and also our Build a Critter Christmas accessories. And what's so cool is you can use either of these accessories with both the fox and the bunny. The other really awesome thing is that our previous things can also work with our brand new fox. So whether it's the Build-A-Critter costumes or the Build-A-Critter more costumes, or also even the Build-A-Bunny spring accessories, you can mix and match any of these with either the fox or the bunny, which is so awesome. We're also going to be taking a look at our brand new Henry's Build-A-Sentiment Fox. It has the perfect sentiments to go along with our super cute fox. First up, we're going to take a look at Build a Fox, and you'll see that there are two different styles of eyes. We also have our face piece and the backer piece for the eyes and ears. Then we also have a little backer piece for the nose and some rosy cheeks. Then we have the parts to make either a standing or a sitting fox. We also have the little chest fluff for the fox or a little belly, and we have the little details that you can add onto their arms. And we have two different styles of arms and also the tail. And so we're going to show you first how to make a standing fox. And these are all of the pieces that you need to create that really cute standing fox. So the first thing you need to do is add some liquid glue to the back of the piece with the eyes for the fox. We've die cut that out of some orange cardstock, and we're going to layer the backer piece that's been cut from some black licorice cardstock to add color into the ears and the eyes. And then we can layer this whole piece over top of the base face piece. Next, there's a little circle, and that's going to add color to the nose. So we're going to add some liquid glue to the back of that and layer that behind to fill in the nose. And then here we have these cute little rosy cheeks that you can add onto your die-cut characters or not. Next, the little paws have these cute little details, and we've die-cut those out of some black licorice cardstock. We're going to add that onto the paws and then also on to the feet, and you can see how cute these are looking. Here, this little kind of egg-shaped piece is a little belly that you can add onto the fox, and then we have the detail for the top of the fox's tail too. On the fox's body, there's a little embossed detail that the die creates for you. That tells you where to put your adhesive above that line, and then you can layer the fox's head right on top of that. Next, we can tuck the tail behind his body, which is so super cute, and then we can layer the arms on, and we can have the arms kind of up in the air like this, which is so adorable. Now there is another style of arm, and so we're going to layer on those same little cute detail pieces onto the arms, and these arms are so that the fox can have his arms folded in towards the front, and these are really great if he's holding onto something like that cute little mug that's in the winter accessories. And so these, we're just going to tuck these under, and you can see how adorable that is. You can also mix and match the different arms too. Now we're going to be creating a sitting fox. And these are all of the pieces that you need to create this adorable sitting fox, and I think he is just so much fun. And so we're going to create this in a really similar way. We're going to be layering on the eye piece here onto that black licorice cardstock, and here we're using the different style of eyes, but you can use each style of eyes on either the sitting or the standing fox, so you can mix and match it in whatever way is perfect for your card. Then we're going to layer the little face-based piece over that, and then for the nose we're going to layer that little circle that's going to fill in the nose of the fox, and now you can see that the fox's head is starting to form. Next, we're going to layer the chest fluff on to this piece here that has the arms, and that little chest fluff is just too cute. And then we'll add some liquid glue to the paws, and we're going to layer the little details for the paws here, just like we did before, on both the base of the fox here and also onto the paws that are going to layer over top. And so this is going to be part of the sitting fox detail there at the bottom, and we're going to be layering the paws over top of that. But first we need to add the little detail onto the foxtail, and then now you can start to see how the pieces are going to form together. So we'll layer our foxtail right there behind his kind of little bum there, and then we're going to add some adhesive onto the paws, and that's going to layer over the top of the base, and you'll see that forms the rest of his legs. And then we'll add some adhesive over top of that chest fluff there, right above that embossed line, and layer the head on there. And here you can see the 3 different styles of foxes that you can do, and they are so cute. I just can't with how adorable these are. They are just so fun and would be perfect to add onto a card just like this. But we also have these really fun brand new accessories, and these are the Christmas accessories. And we have some awesome reindeer antlers here that you can use. We have a little Santa hat and the details for the Santa hat, and then also an elf hat and the details for the elf hat. We also have some fun accessories that they can hold or you can use to set the scene. We have this fun little gingerbread man. We also have a little present, and we have a star and a candy cane. So let's go ahead and start layering all of these pieces. For the reindeer antlers, we have the little headband piece that you can layer over top for some extra detail. And then for the Santa hat, you'll do the same thing. So you'll add some adhesive on the back of the pieces, and you can just layer that over the Santa hat to create that really, really adorable hat that's going to be perfect for our fox and bunny. Here's the cute little elf hat. I love that little kind of detail that goes onto the elf hat in the 2 shades of green. And then we'll add the little pom-pom ball at the end of the elf hat too. And then for the present, you'll see that you can just layer the ribbon part right over top. And we'll have the same thing with our gingerbread man. So we're going to layer the darker color of brown behind the lighter color of brown here. You could also do that in white if you wanted it to look like little white candy buttons on the gingerbread man. And then for this little candy cane, you can add some details with a red marker. There are little lines that the die creates for you. And so we're just going to use a red marker to fill in between those lines to get the look of a candy cane. And then just like paper dolls, all you need to do is layer your accessories onto your cute critters. So here we have our fox and our bunny, and we've got them in different looks with the arms folded in or the arms out, and we can layer all of these pieces over top. And I love that you can mix and match any of the different little hats on the different characters, and then you can give them fun things to hold too. So the cute little candy cane and the presents. I love the folded in arms for him holding the present, or the little gingerbread man. I mean, it is just too cute. Look at these guys. It's just so much fun. You can obviously add the little star there and have him hold that instead too. And I think these are just adorable and so perfect for Christmas. Now next up we have our Build-A-Critter winter accessories, and we have a cute little snow hat here and the details for it. We have a fun little sweater and little arms for the sweater, and we'll show you how to put this all together in just a second. We have a cute little scarf that they can wear, and then we also have a fun little hood too. We have this little great vest here and also a little sweater with that cute little detail on it. And then we have this little mug and a little heart, whipped cream, and snowflake that you can layer onto these that are just too cute. So now what we're going to do is just layer the parts of the snow hat here. So we've got this little beanie, and we've got the details for the little pom-pom and also the front of the hat. And then for the little sweater, you can add the cute little snowflake on it, or you can even take the star from the Christmas accessories and layer that onto the sweater too. Here, the little scarf, you can layer those 2 pieces to create the really cute look of a scarf wrapped around your critter. And you can add the little whipped cream into the mug, and then you can layer either the tiny heart or the tiny snowflake onto the mug and this teeny tiny little mug. I mean, it's just too cute. It just makes me smile. And then of course you have that cute hood, which you can layer on its own or with the sweater too. So let's go ahead and start layering these onto our foxes and bunnies. And so here is what it looks like when you layer on the cute little hat, which is adorable just like that on its own. Or you could also add the sweater in. And so to do that, we're just going to pop off the arms here, and then we can layer the sweater onto the body. And you're going to layer the edge of the sweater with that awesome little emboss line that the die creates for you on the fox or bunny's body. You're just going to line up the edge of the sweater with that, and that's going to put the sweater in perfect placement, and then you can layer the fox's head right onto there. And then to add the arms, what you're going to do is add the normal arms, and then you're going to layer these little sweater arms over top. That way their little paws are peeking out from the ends. And so we'll do the same thing there, and the little stitch line is kind of like the little cuff at their hands. And then you can layer the arms right onto the sweater, and look how cute this is. I mean, this is just, it's just adorable. Look how fun. I mean, oh my goodness, look at that. It's just too cute. And so now we have our cute little winter fox ready to go out and play in the snow. And next up, we're going to take a look at the hood here. And so the hood, you can use it on its own, or you can also layer that cute little pom-pom that we added onto the beanie onto this little hood. And you can add just the hood onto the characters, and you'll see just how cute this looks. I mean, it's just adorable. I think it's just so much fun. And of course, you can do this on the fox or also onto the bunny too. And it's adorable with the little bunny ears peeking out. Now another fun way to use this hood is to layer it with the sweater, and this is going to give you the look of the hoodie, which is too much fun. So here I'm going to layer the sweater onto the fox's body, and then we can layer the arms on, and then we'll layer the sweater ends on top of the arms, and then we'll be able to add the hood on to the fox, and it is just the cutest thing to see him in his adorable little hoodie. I think this could be a fun thing where you could kind of like decorate the front of the hoodie maybe with the logo of someone's school, and it would be a cute card even to send to someone in college, not necessarily with a winter theme, but with that fun kind of like college hoodie feel. And here you can see what it looks like with the hoodie without the little pom-pom on there, or you can add the pom-pom too because that is just too cute and it just looks so perfect for winter. And then to layer the scarf, all you need to do is just add some adhesive onto that. You can layer it right there on to the fox, right underneath that little embossed line on the fox's body, and then layer the fox's head over top of that. And he looks so cute with the scarf, which you could also mix and match with the hoodie too. And then here we have that tiny little sweater that is perfect for the sitting fox. And we're also going to create a cute little beanie here for it to match. And you could use a beanie with or without the pom-pom, but I love that little pom-pom. It's so cute. So we're going to layer that behind the hat. And then we're going to go ahead and layer the sweater onto the fox's body. And so you can layer that over the chest fluff, or you could remove the chest fluff if you didn't want that sticking out. And you can just layer the sweater right on top and then add the fox's head and then add this cute little beanie. And look at that. Is that not just adorable? I love the idea of cutting out all of these costumes and little clothes out of pattern paper, which is such a fun way to make it feel like fabric. And then here we have that adorable little vest. And so we're going to layer this onto the fox too with the vest. And later on, I'm going to show you a way to layer the vest with the sweater that's super, super cute as well. And so we're going to layer the vest pieces onto the body, and then we can go ahead and bring back the fox's head and arms to finish him up with the cute little hood. And I love that it has like the little detail for the pockets and everything, the little vest. I mean, oh my gosh, it's just adorable. Look at this little guy. He is like perfect, ready to go out on a hike. It's just adorable. I love that the winter accessories comes with this super cute little mug, which you can add these little icons to. So we're going to add the snowflake and then have him holding the mug. And look at that. That is just too cute. It's so much fun to like play around with all these pieces and mix and match them all. And here's a look at a bunch of the different characters that we just created with these fun winter accessories. And I love that you can mix and match any of these winter accessories with our brand new fox or also with our bunny. And here's our cute little bunny with the hood. We have the sweater, we have the little beanie, we have the vest, we have the scarf. I mean, it's just too cute. And then, of course, you can also mix and match the elements with all the cute little characters that we created with the Christmas set. So you can mix and match them together, and I wanted to show you that here. So here we have our cute little guy who's got his sweater and his beanie. Well, if you wanted to make it more Christmas instead of winter, you can replace this with the Santa hat, and that's a really, really super cute way to dress these guys up and combine the two different sets together. And the little guy with the sweater and the Santa hat, I mean, oh my goodness, it's so cute. And then you could maybe add the little star onto his sweater instead of the snowflake to make it feel even more Christmassy. Now, we mentioned at the beginning of the video that the critter costumes and all the things can all mix and match between the fox and the bunny. And so I wanted to show you how cute the fox is in these adorable costumes. Look at him in the little ghost costume. I mean, it's just so super cute and sweet. And so we wanted to dress up a couple of them, but any of the costumes would work for the fox and for the bunny. And so we thought it would be fun to create a cute little witch fox here. And so we're going to dress up the fox here. We've die cut the pieces and layered the details on to the witch's hat. And just like we did with the bunny with the costumes, we're going to layer these on in the same way. So you're going to tuck the cape right over his neck, and then you can layer the fox's head right back on, and then you can just add the cute little hat right on top of the fox, and then he can also hold on to the broom. And so now we've decorated this cute little fox for Halloween too, and I think it's so much fun that all of these sets are mix and matchable. And I wanted to show you how cute this would be on a Halloween card. So this is a Halloween card that we made in the intro video for the costumes, and here you can see how cute it is where you can layer a little fox with the bunny. And so isn't that so fun? So I love that you can create a whole row of trick-or-treating bunnies and foxes to create the perfect Halloween card. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Henry's Build-A-Sentiment Fox, which is filled with all of these fun fox puns. Now, this is part of the Henry's Build-A-Sentiment family, which means you can mix and match it with any of the other Henry's Build-A-Sentiment set. But here I decided to look through my set and see what kind of phrases I can mix and match together. I picked out some words, and you'll see that they all have the same size rectangular base, and the stamps have a natural cling. So as you bring them together, they kind of cling together and form your phrase. And so in this case, we're going to do this nice long phrase. I like to bring them together on my work surface, and then I bring my block and I pick them up just like this. And that's going to keep them nice and perfect placement. And then all we need to do is just ink that up with some black licorice ink, and we're going to have a fun custom phrase that says, "You're crafty like a fox," which is so cute and so much fun for a card for your crafty friends. Now I wanted to show you what's fun about these is that you could also stack them. So you can create long phrases, stacked phrases, whatever is going to be perfect for your card design. And so in this case, we're going to be stamping out "Hey Foxy Lady," which I think is super cute. It would be really fun for like a Galentine's card. It's just adorable. And so we're going to stamp that out and then stamp out another phrase, "Have a foxtastic birthday." So I love that you can mix and match these in such a cool and awesome way, and that you can mix and match them with the previous Henry sets too. And this is just a sampling of all the different sentiments that you can make with the Henry's Build a Sentiment Fox. Now it's time to start creating with this super cute fox. So we're going to take the sitting fox that we created earlier in the video, and we're going to decorate him with some of the Christmas accessories. And we're going to be using the reindeer antlers, the headband, the star, and also that little circle. That circle is meant to be the pom-pom on the Santa hat, but it's going to make a really cute Rudolph nose. So we're going to be die cutting that out of some red sparkle cardstock. And then we've got the antlers out of chocolate bar and the headband out of noble fur. We're layering the headband onto the antlers, and then the whole thing onto the fox. I mean, look how cute that is. And then we're going to add some liquid glue behind that little circle piece there and layer it over his nose so that he looks like he's dressed up like Rudolph. And I think this is just so adorable. I'm also going to give him some cute little rosy cheeks here with some nice light pinks. And then we're going to add some white gel pen details. And right now I am recreating a card by Audrey. So thank you so much, Audrey. I love the idea of the cute little Rudolph nose on this fox. And as you can see, as we add the little white gel pen details, it really makes all of the fun details on the fox pop. Next, I'm going to die cut the stitched snowflake backdrop. This is an older backdrop that is one of my favorite for the holidays. We're going to die cut it out of white cardstock, and look how pretty that is. It cuts a standard size card base with that beautiful stitched snowflake detail. Now this is our brand new center picture window add-on here, and normally it's for use in the center picture window interactive die, but you can also use it on its own, and that's what we're going to do here to cut a really cute window with a little stitch border. I think this is such a fun way. I love getting multiple uses out of my dies. Next, we're going to create a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to be layering some pattern paper onto that card base so that it peeks through the window on our snowflake backdrop piece. And so here is some paper from the new All the Sparkles collection. I trimmed it down so that it would fit right behind the window, and then added some foam squares to our piece that we die cut with the window, and we're just going to layer that on top. And now we have this beautiful kind of shadow box feel with those really cute green stripes in the background. Now here is the Scripty Joy and Scripty Joy outline, and I die cut those out of lobster cardstock and white cardstock, and we're going to add some liquid glue to the back of the Joy and layer it onto the outline piece. And I love this because it really gives it a nice pop to have that base layer. And then we're going to add some foam squares to the back of our fox so that he's going to be popped in that window. And then we'll also add some foam squares to the Joy there. So the part that layers over the fox is going to be flat, and then we're going to have some foam squares at the bottom so that it lines up with our cute fox. And look how adorable this is. It's just so sweet. Now, to help decorate the rest of this card, we're going to use some more All the Sparkles paper, and there's this nice red stripe here. And we're just going to cut a little piece that is about 1/4 inch thick, and then we're going to cut that down to 4.25 inches wide, and it's going to be a little strip on the bottom of the card. Audrey does this a lot, where she puts a little strip at the bottom or on the left side, and I think it's such a cute look. We're also going to be die cutting some stars. So there's the star in the Christmas set, and then we also have our Hearts and Stars mini tag. And this one's really great because it has a bunch of stars in different sizes, and we're going to die cut them out of some gold sparkle cardstock, and they're going to be almost kind of like little sequins or little things that we're going to layer around our card. So we're going to add some liquid glue to the back of that strip and layer that at the bottom of the card. And once that's layered on there, I feel like it makes his little Rudolph nose and the word joy just pop. And then after that, we can start to layer our stars onto the card and get them in a good placement. And then we're going to use our Pick Up Pokey tool to pick up each star and add a little bit of liquid glue behind each one to secure them down onto the card. And now this card is all done. It is so super cute, and I love that you could do it with all the different outfits. So you could make an elf one, a Rudolph one like we did here, a Santa one. It would be absolutely adorable. I can't wait to make a trio of cards just like that. Now, we've been using colors of cardstock to create our cute foxes, but I wanted to show you how you could add some more detail by die cutting them out of white cardstock and then using your markers to add color. You could also do this with your ink and some blending brushes, but I just love coloring die cuts in with markers. I find it so relaxing. You don't have to be perfect. You can just kind of scribble. You can see I'm just scribbling the dark marker, now a medium marker, just kind of scribbled, now my next lightest, and then I'll go in with my lightest just like that. And then I just kind of go back through them again. So medium to light again, and it just blends it out. And the imperfectness of it is what kind of makes it look like fur. So it's really, really cool to do and really simple as well. So we're adding some color to the fox faces and then also the fox base part. And we're going to do the same thing on the tail and the arms. So I'm just doing the same thing with my 4 markers. And these are the YR 27, 24, 21, and 20. And they make such a beautiful fox color. So you can see dark, medium, and then light. And it's just scribbled. And then I go back through one more time. Super quick and easy. And it looks so gorgeous. Then I went ahead and die cut some of the detail pieces out of black licorice cardstock, and we're going to start to layer our fox pieces together, just like we did at the beginning of the video. So we're going to layer the eye piece over the black base that's going to fill in the color for the eyes and the ears, and then we're going to layer it over the main face base piece that gives you the little nose and mouth. Then we'll add some liquid glue on the back of that and layer that tiny little circle to fill in the nose. And repeat, we're going to layer it over top of the black licorice cardstock, over top of the main face base piece that has the nose and mouth, flip it over, add some liquid glue around the nose, and layer that little circle right behind to add the color for the nose. Then we'll layer some of the detail pieces on. So we've got the top of the fox's tail and then the little paws. So we're going to add those onto the arms and then also onto the feet of the body. And you'll notice that we didn't add color to the whole body. That's because we're going to be layering a sweater on. So that part's going to be covered up by that die cut. And now it's time to play paper dolls. This is so much fun. We're going to be fox fashion designers here. So we're going to take out the winter accessories and some pattern paper and start picking out papers for the different clothes items. So here is the All the Sparkles paper, and we're going to be using that blue stripe there to die cut some of the sweater pieces. We're also going to be die cutting some of the hats as well. So I just kind of take a look at all these and go, okay, I want the arms, I want the sweater. Oh, okay, let's do a little hat. We're going to die cut some of the hat pieces here. We're going to die cut some of those out of white cardstock and then also out of some blue cardstock. So we're just kind of playing around with different colors and seeing what's going to look nice. We die cut the details for the beanie out of some white cardstock, and so I'm going to use some blue markers here to add some markering to these pieces so that it goes along with the markering that we did on the fox. And so I'm just kind of going light, medium to dark and just blending it out. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect because that's what really makes it look like fabric. And so now we can start to layer those pieces. So we're going to layer the little base piece on there, and then we're going to layer the pom-pom on top. You can also layer the pom-pom behind. Both ways look super cute. It just kind of depends on the look that you're going for. And then now we've got our sweater, and so we're going to start adding this sweater onto the fox. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the main sweater piece, and we're going to layer that onto the fox's body. And the top of the sweater is going to line up with that little embossed line that the die creates on the fox's body for you. Now the little paws peek out of the sweater handles, so we're going to take the arms here and layer the little black paw details on them, but I didn't add any markering to the paws because we're going to cover them with the sweater sleeves. So you'll see how that's going to look just like that. And then we can layer the little sleeves over top of that. And then now we can add some liquid glue to the back of the hat and layer it onto the fox's head. And look at that. It's just so cute. I love it so much. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to layer that on top, and then we're going to add some tape runner to the arms there, and we're going to layer the arms onto the sweater. And you can see how cute this is looking already. Like, look at this little fox. I just can't with how adorable it is. We're going to layer the little fox tail behind, and then we can add the fox's head onto the body. And I like being able to kind of tilt the head a little bit. I think it looks super cute. It's just adorable, just tilting it just a little bit there to the left. So now we have our first fox, and so we're going to add some white gel pen details to this. And I am recreating a card by Grace, so thank you so much, Grace, because your card was just so, so cute. And so now we're just going to add some more little white gel pen details, just little curves all around the curves of the fox. And look how adorable he is. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you the joy that there is in creating these little outfits for the foxes. It just makes me smile so big. Okay, so now that we have our first fox, we're actually now going to work on another character. We're going to bring our bunny in, so that way we have both a fox and a bunny on this card. And so this is my Build-A-Bunny dies here, and I went ahead and die cut these pieces out of white cardstock too, because we're going to be adding markering just like we did for the fox. And so for these markers, I'm doing E53, E51, and E50. And just like we did before, we're doing dark, medium to light, and then just kind of scribbling the color on, because the less perfect it is, I think the cuter it looks. So we're going to add dark, medium, and then light, just like that. Just scribbling it over the arms now. And you'll see the arms are similar to the fox, where they're going to come in so they can hold something. They're going to hold mugs in just a little bit. And then I'm adding some pink onto the ears, and then also to that little circle that's going to layer in for the bunny's eyes. I also went ahead and die cut the piece for the bunny's eyes out of some black cardstock. And so we're going to add some liquid glue to the back of the bunny's face, and then we can start to layer on all the pieces. So we're going to layer on the ears, and then this little piece here is going to add the color in for the eyes on the bunny's face, and then the little circle is going to fit right there like a little puzzle piece to add the color for the bunny's nose. And now you can see the cute little face on the bunny. And now again, we get to be fashion designers. So I'm taking a look at some different pieces here from the winter accessories. We're going to take out the sweater. We're also going to use the vest, and we're going to layer the two together, and we're going to create a cute little mug for this bunny to hold with a little whipped cream and a little heart on it. So again, I'm looking through all the sparkles paper, and there's this nice white and gray stripe, which is perfect for the sweater. And then I took out my candy cane lane paper because there's some really great tiny patterns in this, and we're going to die cut the vest out of that pattern with the little trees on it. And the little peppermint pattern, we're going to die cut the mug from that. And I think those little patterns are so cute. The paper is also really, really cute to use, is the favorite flannel fall. It's really adorable for the little sweaters. So now we're going to layer the little sweater onto the bunny's body just like we did on the fox, and we're also going to layer the little vest pieces over top. And I mean, look at this little outfit. This bunny is styling. It is so cute. Next, we can add some tape runner to the bottom of the bunny's head and layer the bunny onto the body. And then we can start to layer the arms and then put the sweater pieces over top of those. Then for the mug, I'm just going to add a little bit of light brown to the whipped cream for some detail, and we can layer the heart and the whipped cream onto the mug and then add the mug in between the bunny's paws, and it is just too cute. I like to tuck the mug under the paw so that it really looks like he's holding on to the handle of the mug. And look at that. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. And just like we did on the fox, we're going to add some white gel pen details to kind of help all of these cute little pattern papers pop. And so we're just adding little curves on the legs, the feet, little dots on the rosy cheeks. And then now you can see the bunny with his fox pal, and they're all dressed up and all cozy for winter, and it's just adorable. So now that we have those guys, we're going to do something really fun here. We're going to use our Build-A-Drink mug, and we're going to die cut the mug out of some white cardstock, and then the heart, which is a part of that mug set, we're going to die cut that from some white cardstock too. And we're going to end up putting a fox in the mug. It's going to be so cute. So here I'm using some guava ink, and I'm just using my blending brush to add some color onto the mug. And I'm going to make sure that it's darker towards the bottom right and kind of lighter up towards the top left. And that way it just feels like it has a little bit of dimension to it. And then for the heart, we're going to use Ballet Slippers ink and just ink that onto the heart. And this is just going to look so pretty. I love that gradient detail, and you can do that all with just one color of ink on the mug and then a different color here on the heart. So now we're going to go ahead and take some more of our fox pieces. So we have the fox face and arms that we colored and put together earlier. And then we're going to go ahead and start creating his cute little outfit. So I'm looking through this All the Sparkles paper again. We're going to use that red stripe, and we're also going to use the gray stripe. And we're going to die cut that cute little hat and then the pom-pom and detail for the hat. We're also going to die cut the little scarf here out of some of the textured cardstock in this really beautiful turquoisey color. And then I'm just adding a little bit of detail with my marker on the edges. And then I'm just adding some polka dots with my white gel pen just to make it feel extra special. I loved how Grace did this. It was really, really cute. And it's fun to add the polka dots onto the sweater. I think it'd be cute too to add stripes. So now we've got our hat. And so we're going to layer on the little detail at the bottom, and then our pom-pom's going to go on top. And now we've got all the pieces that we need to put together for our cute little fox that's going to be kind of leaning out of this mug. So now we're going to start attaching these pieces together. So we're going to add his little hat on and then add the heart onto the mug. And then we're going to layer some pieces onto the fox. And we don't need the body because it's going to look like he's peeking out of the mug. So the body's kind of inside of the mug. So we're going to layer the head onto the scarf and then the little scarf tails on. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of that scarf so that I can just attach the arms to it. And it's going to look like his paws are kind of over the lip of the mug. And then now you can see how he's kind of going to fit in there. I'm kind of moving the scarf so it covers up the edge of the mug. And then we can add some liquid glue onto that and layer him onto the mug. And now he looks like he's peeking out from inside of the mug. And I just think it's adorable. And then last but not least, we're going to add his little tail on. And look at that. Isn't that so cute? And so now we're going to go ahead and add some rosy cheeks onto the foxes. And then we're going to add some more white gel pen details onto this guy. So just some little lines there on his paws and on his tail, just to help make him pop, and then some little white dots on his rosy cheeks too, and some details on his little nose as well, and of course some onto the mug. I just went crazy with the white gel pens here. And now my 3 little characters are all done. Look how cute they are. You could of course use each one of these separately on a card, but I'm going to combine them all together and it's going to be so sweet. So here is some of that All the Sparkles paper, and I love this paper that has the white with the gold stars because you can ink blend on it and create your own custom color of sky with the beautiful gold detail on it. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're using Moonstone ink, Forget-Me-Not ink, Blue Jay ink, and then I'm also going over it here with some Merman ink to give it a little bit more of a turquoise look. And then we're going to go ahead and take some Rainforest ink to the edges there to darken it up. And so by layering the blues and then the blue greens, I think it gave this really cool kind of swirly feel to the sky. Now here is a stitched hillside border, and we're going to die cut that from some white cardstock to create a little snowy hill for our characters to stand on. I'm also going to take that same candy cane lane paper we used for some of the clothes, and I'm going to use this really pretty stripe. It also has a gold foil detail in it, so it's going to really match nicely with our All the Sparkles paper. I'm trimming this down to be 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm using an oldie but a goodie die, and this is a reversed scalloped window, and you'll see that it's going to die cut a window shape with this really cool interior scallop and a stitching on the outside. So we're going to run that through the die cut machine, and now you can see how cute this is, and I love this little scallop kind of coming in, creating a cute window. Now here I wasn't sure exactly how high to make my little snowbank here, so I'm bringing my characters in to see, and I'm just going to play around with what looks good. And once I like it, I can remove everything off, and this is what I like to do, is I just flip this whole piece over, and then I make a line with my pencil so that I know where to trim it. That way I can not only trim off the edge, but it's also kind of crooked because I wanted to lower one of the edges of the snowbank. So that's a nice way to be able to just trim off exactly what I need and make my hill perfect. Next, I'm going to add some liquid glue to that hill and then layer that on to our pattern paper piece. Then we're going to add some foam strips to the back of this little frame that we created and layer that over. And then we're going to be adding all of our cute characters on with foam squares too. So I'm just layering foam squares behind everything, and then we're going to pop everything in. So I'm going to add the mug in the center first and then layer my other characters on there. I like that the fox's tail is kind of overlapping the side of the card here, and now we can layer on our bunny too. And the only thing that we need now is to add a little mug for this other guy because he was waiting to hold something. So we die cut a mug, again from that really pretty paper in the candy cane lane. And then we've got the little snowflake that comes in the set, and then also the whipped cream. And then we can go ahead and tuck that into his paws. And that's what just looks so cute with both of them holding the mug and then the big mug in the center. It's just adorable. I love all that sparkle from the All the Sparkles paper. It's so pretty in the background. So next up, we're going to create a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25, and we can layer our whole panel on top. And the only thing left that we need is a sentiment. And so to do that, we're going to be using Henry's Build-A-Sentiment, and we're going to be using 2 sets. We're going to use the Henry's Build-A-Sentiment Winter and the Henry's Build-A-Sentiment Spring. And that's what I love about the Henry's Build-A-Sentiment sets, is that they all have the same size rectangular base so that you can mix and match them for the perfect sentiment. And I wanted this card to say warm wishes because it goes along so well with our winter and mug theme here. So we're just going to take those 2 phrases and we're going to attach them there together. There's the natural cling of the stamp. They have the same size base, so they just line up. We're going to stamp that in some Rainforest ink and then use this sentiment banner die. We're going to line that up, hold it in place with some low tack tape. We'll run it through the die cut machine. And then we can just add some tape runner to the back and layer that into the card, and we're going to tuck it right into the frame. And I think that is just so cute. And now this card is all done, and look how adorable this is. I love the shine of the stars. They are just incredible and so, so beautiful. I also wanted to show you guys a comparison between the cute fox die cut out of cardstock or colored in with markers. Both of them look absolutely amazing, and they're two different looks. So I love that you can get lots of different looks depending on how you decorate your adorable foxes. Next up, we are going to create a super cute ornament featuring our fox, and we're doing that with the brand new star treat box. And we're going to die cut that from some All the Sparkles paper. I love this green, and you'll see that this die has all sorts of score lines in it. You can kind of see that star shape right there in there. It also has little X's. That's where we're going to put our adhesive in just a little bit. But first, we're going to start off with those score lines. And so these score lines, you're going to just kind of crease them a little bit. It's not your traditional score line where you take out your bone folder. You're just going to crease it some, and you'll see as you start to crease it, it's going to kind of pucker in the middle, and you're going to press that down to start to form the points of the star. And so then we'll repeat that on the next one. We're going to bend along those score lines, and you'll see that that little center one is going to kind of pucker and go right around the point of the star. Now we'll move our way down to the next part. And again, we're going to kind of fold along those little score lines there, and it's going to bend down into the center. And you're just going to work your way around the box doing that same thing, and you'll start to see that star start to form. So we're going to crease, crease, kind of push in the center, crease, crease, push in the center, crease, crease, push in the center. And that's going to form the star shape on both sides. Then we're going to take our nice strong double-sided tape here, and we're going to add it onto all of the pieces that have those little X's. The X's are a little bit hard to see on the video, but they're really easy to see in person. It embosses a little X, and you're just going to put little strips of tape on each of these. You could also use liquid glue for this too. You just want it to be a nice strong adhesive so that it holds the shape of our three-dimensional star treat box. Now we're going to go ahead and peel up some of that liner paper, and we're going to bring these two together. So see how the two ends just kind of fit together, and they're going to kind of layer over each other? That's where you're going to start. Right where those two stars connect, we're going to push them together and then let our adhesive kind of hold those in place. Then we're going to work our way down. The one with the notch is the opening of our treat box. Now we can peel up the liner paper on the rest of that adhesive. And again, you're just going to work your way down the box, and they're going to naturally kind of fit into each other, just like that. And then you can use your fingers to help hold them in place. So now you'll see those ends are lining up, and I'm just going to press down to hold that adhesive in place. And now we have this really cute three-dimensional box. I'm putting my fingers on the inside of the box just to make sure that that tape is really holding on. And now I can just go ahead and close the edge of that box. And that's where you could add some cute little treats, chocolates, candy canes, anything that you might want to add into an adorable box like this. But I thought it'd be fun to turn this box into an ornament, which you could also still fill with treats too. And we're going to do that by taking this cute little fox that we made at the very beginning of the video. And we also made this Santa hat at the beginning of the video. And so we're going to layer the Santa hat onto our adorable fox. And then we're going to take out a scarf here. We've die cut the scarf out of that same lobster cardstock. And we're going to add the scarf underneath his chin. And then we can add the ends of the scarf on top of the scarf. And he is already looking so adorable. Now, my first thought was that I was just going to stick the fox onto the star box. But then I thought, oh, he's actually a little bit bigger than I remembered. And I think what we ended up doing turned out even cuter. So I decided to just remove his body and then add the little head just directly onto the scarf like that. And now look how cute that is with the little face with the scarf. I think it's adorable. So I'm just going to flip that over, and I'm actually going to use some washi tape to hold all of those pieces in place because the scarf is just kind of hanging onto the fox's neck. So the washi tape's going to help hold it in place while I add my liquid glue. And then I can add liquid glue all over the whole thing and then layer it into the center of our star box. And then I'm going to add some white gel pen details onto the fox and his accessories. There's something about Christmas cards where I just want to add all the white gel pen details, and so that's what I'm going to do here. And this would be so cute as a treat box. You could fill it with candy canes or chocolates, or a lot of times I buy a gift certificate online that I just print out and I would roll it up and I'll put it inside the treat box. And I think that's such a cute way to present a gift card, especially when there's not an actual card where it's just something you print off. But you can also make ornaments out of these star boxes, and that's what we're going to do here. So I have some gold sparkle lawn trimmings, and I'm just going to trim off a piece of this. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to tie a knot at the bottom here. And this is a nice thick twine. It's hemp twine, so it's really going to have a nice big knot at the bottom, and that's great because that knot is going to help us hold our ornament string in place. Then we can just feed the string into the box where the knot is going to be at the top point of the star. And then as you close the box, that actually will hold that in place. And you could just leave it like this so that you could open up the box again, but I wanted to make this just into an ornament. So we're going to permanently close the box by adding a little bit more of this double-sided tape just to the inside here of these flaps. Another way to create an ornament would be to poke a hole in the top so that you could just add your string through that way. But this is a really fun way to do it, really nice and easy. And so we're just going to go ahead and close this top part here, and that is going to hold our ornament string in place. And look how adorable this is. Oh my goodness. I mean, this just turned out so cute. It would be such a cute little gift to bring someone, and I love that it coordinates so nicely with the card that we made earlier. So it's a fun little mix and match card and ornament as a beautiful gift for a friend. I had so much fun making this ornament, I wanted to do one more, so I went ahead and created the star treat box in the same way using another color of the All the Sparkles paper. And now we're going to take out this cute little bunny and we're going to add the elf hat that we created at the beginning of the video onto the bunny, which is so super cute. And then we're going to be layering the scarf underneath the bunny's chin. Then we can add some liquid glue to the back of the bunny and layer him onto the star box just like we did the fox. I'm also going to make this one into an ornament, so I tied a knot at the bottom of my lawn trimmings twine. I'm going to add it into the little top part of the star here. I've added some adhesive to the inside of the flap, and we're just going to seal that shut. And now our cute box is all done. It's such an adorable little ornament, and I love the two of these together. And next up, Shari is going to show us how to bring our cute fox into fall, and then how to make a crafty fox. So take it away, Shari.
So to create my fall card today, I'm starting out with the Build a Fox. I've already cut out my fox pieces, and I'm also using the new Build a Critter winter accessories to create my fall card because nothing is cozier than a sweater in the fall as well. So I have the sweater and the arms cut out, as well as the little hot cocoa and the whipped cream. For my sweater, I did use the Favorite Flannel Fall collection, and it makes the cutest little plaid sweater for my fox. So let's start by assembling the fox. I have this solid piece cut from Storm Cloud that will layer behind and fill in the eyes and the ears. Then I can layer this on top of the lighter piece that's cut from speckled eggshell cardstock for the bottom of the face. And then I will put this black circle on the backside for the nose. Then of course I have the little detail that goes on the end of the tail. And we want those little black detail pieces that go on the paws. Now I cut these from Storm Cloud cardstock, so they're really a dark gray, but they look like little socks down here. There are ones that go on the arms as well, but since I'm using the sweater, I just cut the arms out of that Storm Cloud cardstock because I knew that I am going to cover that up with the sweater sleeves. And I was right at the end of my glue tube, so I'm switching out to a brand new glue tube, adding some glue to those arms, and you can see now when I add the sleeves, it just looks like the paws are covered in that dark Storm Cloud cardstock. Then I can add the body of the sweater to the body of the fox. And now I will add his head. It fits right into the sweater right there, and I can add the arms. And they're folded in front so that he can be holding the cup of cocoa. I cut the mug from some mermaid cardstock, and then of course there is that cute little whipped cream, and I am just going to tuck this into his paws. And then finally I can add his tail coming out from the back side. So I'm making a little fall scene with the leafy backdrop, but I want a frame around my scene. And I thought I would show you how to make some cardstock custom colored to the color you want. So I wanted it to be this rainforest color. So I just cut this out of white and I'm going in really heavy with the rainforest ink and adding that to this die cut. I am using my grip mat to hold it in place so that I don't accidentally kind of wrinkle this by catching it with the brush. But you can see I'm being really heavy with this ink. You might even be able to take the ink pad directly to the paper. It looks a little splotchy now, but it will smooth out as it absorbs into the paper. And then I also added some gold metallic watercolor splatters all around, and it made it look like a gold flecked frame for my scene. So I'm just going all the way around my frame, tapping that paintbrush, dropping those splatters in there, and then you're gonna see here when I pick it up that it has this great shimmer. It's almost like custom spiffy or speckles paper. Now for my scene, I used that leafy backdrop in the portrait. I cut it from craft cardstock. And then for the trees, I cut this from the 12 by 12 favorite flannel fall. And I just wanted to show you, depending on where you cut it out of the paper, you can get different colors in the tree. I'm adding a little detail to the tree using a Copic marker, just some little lines, giving it some texture. And then I can add the tree leaves, let's say, out of the plaid on the back side. So I'm adding some liquid glue to the back of my tree, and now I have this really fun plaid tree. Now my frame is all dry, the little flecks of gold are dry, and my ink is nice and absorbed in, and I'm going to layer this onto the leafy backdrop, and it is going to frame this up just so perfectly. Now for the ground, I have sage cardstock. I'm going to cut this with one of the stitched hillside borders. Then I want a fence in the background to match. So I'm layering the two together and lining up my fence. This is cut from white cardstock. And now I have two pieces that match perfectly together. For the background, I am using some yellow spiffy speckles paper. And then what I'm going to do is put the fence directly onto the background. So I'm using a little bit of liquid glue on the back side of the fence, and I use my tape runner along that solid piece at the bottom. So this is directly on that spiffy speckles paper, and then everything else is going to be popped up. So I've used some thin foam strips around the frame and on the back side of my tree, and I'm just popping that onto the card base. Now this is all popped up from that fence. And then I will put my sage ground popped up in front. And this is something I like to do a lot, which is put the ground kind of covering up the frame. I just think it has a really fun look. So I've added foam squares where that's going to layer over the fence. I've added liquid glue to the frame, and I'm just putting that sage grass right along the bottom. Now for my sentiment, I'm using the new Henry's Build a Sentiment Fox set to spell out the sentiment that says, "Have a fox-tastic day," which I just think is so much fun. And I'm stamping this on a stitch sentiment banner that is cut from guava cardstock. I am stamping this a little to the left so that I can trim off the right side and make it nice and straight. And that way it can hang off the side of the card just like this, right along the bottom down there, and that will give space for my fox to be right above the sentiment. I've added foam squares all over the back of my fox so he can be popped up off that background just like the tree. And he fits right in there just perfectly. Now to finish it off, I also have some leaves from the leafy backdrop. This is also cut from guava, which I think is a really fun color to incorporate into a fall project rather than some bright reds. It just gives it a different look. I'm adding leaves to the sky and to the tree. And then, of course, we can't forget the glitter, so I'm adding glitter to the leaves. I'm also going to add some glitter accents to the tree and to the whipped cream in the mug. And I did pull up the mug and adjust it a little bit. It looked like it had kind of tilted down after I glued it down, so I fixed that. And then here is my finished Foxtastic Fall Day card. I just think that it turned out so cute. I love the plaid sweater and the fall colors, and I just love how this card turned out. That fox is just adorable. So I am creating a Build-A-Fox card, but I'm using some of the Build-A-Bunny accessories from spring. These little overalls here, we're going to make a crafty fox today. We're going to use the art supplies and the easel. So I've already cut out all of my little pieces here, and let's assemble the fox in his cute little overalls with his fun art supplies. So first I'm going to start by assembling the pieces of my fox here. So I have his little face that I'm going to layer over the black solid piece to fill in his eyes and his ears. Then I can layer this over the cardstock that is the white. Actually, this is a speckled eggshell cardstock, so it's that kind of creamy color with the little speckles. And that's going to finish off the bottom part of his face and give him that two-toned look. I also have that little circle there that is black, and I will just layer that on the back to fill in his nose. Then we have his little paws. I cut this from Storm Cloud cardstock, so it's a dark gray. This matches the ears and the eyes. And I'm just adding these with a little bit of liquid glue and using my pickup tool to add them to the feet and the hands. I'm not going to put the arms on the body just yet. I am going to figure out how my art supplies and how my little fox is going to be standing holding them before I glue all the pieces together. And then of course we have that little detail that goes on the end of his tail. So I'm going to leave these pieces apart for right now. Let's build his overalls because we need to put his overalls on before we add the head to the body. So the overalls I cut from peacock cardstock, and then all the little details are cut from mermaid cardstock. So we're going to start with the little pocket that goes in the middle. Then there are pieces that layer over the cuffs at the bottom of the pant legs and some pieces that layer over the straps at the top. And I like how these have the little hole there that looks like a button. So when you layer it over a different color, you can see that color through the little hole. Now we can add the overalls to our crafty fox here. I'm just cleaning up a little bit of glue. And I'm just kind of looking to see exactly where they need to go. They do go pretty low because you need to line up the bottom with his legs. And this is why I'm adding these before I add his head, because these kind of overlap that little etched line at the top of the body that shows you where the head goes. So once I have those overalls in place, I can add a little liquid glue, line up the head, and I'm actually going to use my reverse tweezers to just kind of hold this here for a minute while I work on something else. And we will add the little arms and the tail just here in a little bit once I get some more pieces together. So the art supplies die will cut two paintbrushes, and I'm actually going to use both. I cut the main part of the paintbrush from Narwhal cardstock, the brush from Craft, and then the little detail piece that holds the brush on with some silver metallic cardstock so that it looks like metal. I'm also going to come in here with a Copic marker and just add some little flecks of a darker brown to make it look like the hairs of the paintbrush. Then I'm moving on to this little tube of paint. I picked yellow for that color of the label and then a sparkly silver for the lid. Now I have my little palette, my paint palette here, and all my little colors of paint. And I just stuck this onto my grip mat so I was not chasing it around my desk because it was kind of moving around. But I'm just putting all the rainbow colors of paint, just adding a little dot of glue and dropping those little splats of paint right onto the paint palette. So now that all my art supplies are assembled, I'm going to look at what he looks like holding them. And I thought it would be cute to be holding the paintbrush in the up position like he's painting on the canvas that will be behind him. So I'm just adding his arm with a little liquid glue on the back, and then I will add the paintbrush. I love that this paintbrush is kind of oversized for this little fox. It just makes it super cute. Then I will do the same with the paint palette by adding a little bit of glue to his hand and tucking it into the little hole so he looks like he's holding it. And I'm just turning it to make sure it doesn't cover up his face or anything. Then I can add the whole arm to the back of the fox. And then finally, I can add his tail. And just look how adorably cute he is. I love him in his overalls with his little fun art supplies. So now I'm ready to work on the background of my card, and I am using the All the Sparkles Petite paper pack. I am going to be using that white and pale gray striped pattern paper. This is going to be the wallpaper of the wall behind my fox creating his fun art masterpiece. So I am using the largest of the stitch rectangle stackables to cut out my pattern paper. I want those stripes in the vertical direction, so I'm just going to hold this in place with some low tack tape so that it's nice and straight with those stripes. I also cut a piece of the coffee table pattern paper for that wood grain with the same stitch rectangle, and it is a little taller than I need it to be, so I need to trim it off. I'm just going to add some of my pieces here so that I can see exactly how tall I want this to be. So I'm just laying the fox and the easel and the canvas on there, and about 1.25 inches is where I'm going to cut this. So I will bring this over to my paper trimmer and cut that off to be 1.25 inches tall, and that's going to be my flooring. But before I add that to this pattern paper, I want to create some fun paint splatters on the wall behind the canvas. So I'm using the paint splatter stencil, and then I am going to use a rainbow of colors for my stenciling. So I'm starting out with guava, then I'm using some fake tan. For my yellow, I am using sunflower. For the green, I'm using freshly cut grass. Then I will pull in a aqua color for the blue, so I'm using merman, and then finally some grape soda for the purple. Unfortunately, my purple kind of got covered up by the easel and the canvas, but just look how pretty this is. I would love to do this on another card with that striped background. I just think it's so pretty. Before I pull it off that grip mat, I'm adding some gold splatters, and you can see I'm just focusing up where the paint splatters are, and that will just add some really fun shimmer to the background, and I will set this aside to dry. Moving on to my canvas, which is cut from speckled eggshell cardstock, I am going to be stamping the sentiment that says, "You're so crafty like a fox." This is from the new Henry's Build a Sentiment Fox stamp set, and I think this goes perfectly with my little crafty fox that I'm creating today. I also cut splatters out of the same cardstock colors I use for the paint on the paint palette, and these splatters are also from that art supply die set. And I'm just adding these around my sentiment. So that is why I stamped my sentiment first, and now I'm adding my paint splatters around, kind of to the top and the bottom corners, because I know my fox is going to be on the left side. So once I have some of those splatters glued down, I'm just going to grab my scissors and trim off the parts that are hanging off the side of the square. Now my background is dry. I'm adding this to my card base. Then I can add the wood grain pattern paper to the bottom for the floor. And now I can add my canvas to the easel. So the easel is cut from storm cloud cardstock, so it's that dark gray, and I'm just adding that with some liquid glue. And then I am going to put some foam adhesive all over the back. The thin foam strips are perfect on the back of the easel, and this way I can pop up the whole thing off of the background and have some really fun dimension on the card. So I'm just adding this to the right side, not quite all the way to the edge. I want a little bit of a border there. And then I will add my fox. And I was just placing it, and it's kind of halfway on the easel and halfway on the background. So I just drew a pencil line right down the middle so I could see where to put my foam squares for the part that will be touching the background. And then the other side, I could just glue directly to the canvas. And now to pop my little crafty fox right onto my card. He is just so adorably cute. I think he would look super cute on his own as well, but I love this fun painty background. Now I do have some additional art supplies to add. So of course there's the little stool. I cut this from paper bag cardstock, and I'm just popping that up with foam as well. There is the extra paintbrush since the art supplies die will cut too, and I will add that on top of the stool. Then, of course, we have this big tube of paint, and I decided to take one of those little extra splotches of paint and add it to the label to give it a little more interest. I have some extra splatters that I didn't use on the canvas, so I'm going to put a couple of those on the floor around the fox. So I'm adding my paint tube with some foam and then those splatters directly to the floor. He's kind of messy, right? I did want some definition on the stool, so I grabbed that same Copic marker and just added a little bit of shadow and shading to kind of give it some shape. And I did pull one more splatter that I had over here and cut one of the little legs off of it and tucked it like it is behind the paintbrush. And that really kind of fills in that empty space right there on the canvas. I just think that this is so fun and so cute and colorful. Now, of course, we need some glitter, so I just basically put glitter on all of the paint splatters that were cut from cardstock. So all of those paint splatters that are on the canvas, the paint splatters that are on the floor, and all of the paint splatters that are on the palette that he is holding. And then here is my finished super cute crafty fox. Painting and painting, giving us all the Bob Ross vibes. I just think it turned out so cute. I love his overalls. I think he needs some paint on his overalls too.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card makes me smile big time. Our adorable Crafty Fox is just too cute. And I also love how you brought him into fall, so you can take that sweater and die cut it from any papers in your stash and change it into different seasons. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team, and this one by Tammy with the little guy with his health hat in the mug is just too cute. I love how Megan added our cute little bunny, gave him a sweater and a scarf, and put him in our Build a Snow Globe. Here, Elena added our adorable little fox into a wreath, and I love this card so much. And then here, Mindy shows us that this fox is perfect for our Halloween costumes, and he's such a cute match to his bunny friend. I love this card here with the purple and pink sky and how the little fox is holding on to that die-cut present. And here Lynette shows us that the fox might be the cutest little pirate I have ever seen, and I love him holding onto the trick-or-treat bucket with his hook hand. This card here by Audrey is so fun. I love that Winter Wonderland window framing our adorable fox holding a mug. And then here we have our two little foxes here with the most adorable sweaters. I love having fun cutting the sweaters out of all sorts of different papers. This card here is so much fun for Halloween. I love the little fox and the bunny together dressed up. And then here is the card by Grace that inspired me to make mine today. It is just so cute and sweet. I love these guys all dressed up for Halloween so much. It's just so fun that you can mix and match all of the elements between the bunny and the fox, and I love that card by Melissa. And this card by Shari is too cute. The reindeer and the elf together are just perfect for Christmas. Yanea added our cute fox onto our pillow box, and I think this is such a cute design with those little sprigs. And then here Mindy added our fox into our spooky forest backdrop, and it's the perfect wintry background for the adorable fox. And Letitia's fun colors for our Halloween card are just too cute with our adorable gray fox here. So we cannot wait to see all of your fox cards and all of your winter and Christmas accessories, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!